Welcome to another episode of Right Click Print Money. This is the PGA Tour Tips and Picks Show, making paper for the masses. I am your host, SportsGuyTy, joined as always by Tmac and ShallowCal. Gentlemen, the gates to Magnolia Lane are open, and it is officially Masters Week. ShallowCal, I love that hat that you're wearing, sir.
Yes, sir. Little Masters gear to get it started. I would have had my towel from Augusta draped over my shoulder as well. Unfortunately, I thought that would be a little too much, though.
All right, T-Mac, well, tell us about your background. You got a shot from the course up as well.
Oh yeah,
There's
just got a little bit. We got the flower bed over here with the master symbol. Looking at the clubhouse, just beautiful. Taking in Augusta National here.
Well, we've got a ton to talk about with the big Masters preview show tonight. But before we get there, gentlemen, winner, fried perch dinner. Both of you on Jordan Spieth at the Valero Texas Open, 11-1 and 13-1. Congratulations, fellas. That makes 2 in a row for the podcast.
Yeah, it was nice to get back in the winner's circle. It's been a couple of weeks, and although I had a small card this week, just hitting that, it paid for the card and put me up a couple units. So needed that positive change there.
Well, I would just like to say that, did I call it? Did I tell you he was going to win?
Yeah, you did.
I told you. I told you guys.
I mean, you said it every tournament, though, to be fair. So it's bound to happen eventually.
That's where I was about to go. Spieth has been an auto bet for you for like 7 weeks.
It's just like when Augustine wins, man. You know how much money I'm going to make as soon as he wins his first tournament.
Hey,
Can't wait.
It's a little different, though. Seeing him come back into form, seeing him recover from where he was in that dark place, and all the top fives that he had and the buildup that he had to this last week, it was absolutely fantastic feeling. Even though he wasn't my longest odds winner, it probably felt the best watching him just as a fan of golf in general.
That was a lot of fun, and we're going to talk more about Spieth shortly when we dive in a bit further and recap the Valero Texas Open. But that is now 6 outright winners for us in 2021, plus a first-round leader. Well, gentlemen, we said it for the last couple of weeks. All it was going to take was one of us to hit one again and get hot, and we're going to get on a roll. So we got two in a row now, and we're heading into Masters Week. Before we get into our previews, tips, and picks, let's tell all the good people out there what we're drinking. Podcast sauce tonight. T-Mac, you first.
I've got a Mezcal chocolate bitter old fashioned.
Oh my God.
Oh. Whoa.
I'm gonna have to.
We'll save us from that one.
Run down to the store real quick and pick something different up because you'll stop that.
It's delicious.
I just got regular old Coralejo Reposado tequila and ice, and
a good one.
I mean it works, but holy cow, does that chocolate bitters mezcal old fashioned?
Oh, it's Woodford's chocolate bitters. Oh, it's so good.
Thanks. I can almost taste it right now.
Got it at the Wine Castle in Ann Arbor there.
Ah, yes.
My dad's old haunt. His favorite spot in Ann Arbor.
My dad as well.
Well, I'm on the beer train again this week. Little Red Stripe Ouray beer. More importantly, my koozie of the week this week comes from Koozie of the Week, the Shack Up Inn in Clarksdale, Mississippi, the world's oldest B&B. Is that
just a paper bag?
And beer. Yeah, it pretty much is. I mean, that's what it's designed to be.
I kind of like that.
Little paper bag.
Paper bag. That's pretty bougie.
Yeah, the world's oldest bed and beer in the Mississippi Delta, Clarksdale, Mississippi. As always, we've got a packed show. We're going to recap the Texas Open, as mentioned. We're going to go through our right-click print money winners, bring back the bogeys of the week segment this week, our weekend sweats. And then it's time to dive deep into the Masters preview and give our tips and picks to try and streak going and hit 3 in a row. But first, let's pay the bills, tell everybody where they can find us, ask for a huge favor for everyone out there listening. We are the Right Click Print Money podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, as well as the YouTube channel. All you got to do is search Right Click Print Money. You can find us. Subscribe, like, review. We need it. Help us climb the charts in the States. We want to get a little bit more notoriety for the show, get some more content that we can generate based on all of that. So help us out. Go like, go subscribe, leave us a review. We're also on Twitter at RightClickPicks. Every single week, we will tweet out our final betting cards, a link to our cumulative spreadsheet for 2021 with all of our previous tips and picks, where we stand on the year for total units up or down. So come on, follow along, have some fun with us. Drop us a mention on Twitter. Let us know who you fancy early in the week for Masters, and we'll get on there, respond, have some fun with it. Before we get into talking Texas Open, gentlemen, as we've been doing the last couple weeks here, let's start off one question for each of you pertinent to the world of golf today. And because it is Masters week, we're going to go with a Masters theme. And ShallowCal, we're going to start with you first. Dustin Johnson's victory at the Masters in November, was it tainted in any way? No fans. The course played much easier than it typically does. Wasn't the traditional firm and fast that we're used to seeing. Not as much wind. Does Dustin's victory in November at Augusta lose any of its luster for you?
Were any of the other golfers playing a different course than Dustin was?
Good point.
Exactly. So did he win that tournament fair and square? Absolutely 100%. I mean, you had guys like Bryson out there. I believe he said, "This is a par 67 for me. I'm Bryson DeChambeau." And what did he do? He went out there and lost balls without even losing them. You know, like the guy was all over the place. But DJ went out there and fired 20 under par at, maybe it was a little bit easier, but everybody else played the same course. Everybody else had the same opportunity. Nobody else had fans yelling at them. You know, it wasn't like he got to go out there first before anybody got out there. So no, I don't think it loses any luster at all.
He beat the most prestigious field in golf by 5 strokes. I mean, Augusta is still one of the most difficult courses in the world, whether it be in November or in April. For me, it's not tainted in any way. Tmac, your thoughts?
I mean, how could you call it tainted, like you said? I mean, yeah, it's nice to have fans there. It can change the atmosphere a little bit, so maybe there would have been some differences there. But 5 strokes at Augusta against the best of the best of the best, you deserve it.
Yep, absolutely.
Unbelievable.
All right, and now to you, T-Mac, for your question of the week. If you won the Masters, what would be on the menu of your champion's dinner the following year?
I think I have to make one correction of your question. It's not if, when I win the Masters.
With John Augenstein caddying for you.
What I will have, I'll start with a nice she crab soup. It has to be flown in from South Carolina. Followed with, I think, snow or king crab legs with a little lobster mac and cheese as an accompaniment. And then we're going to have to finish it off with a really nice bumpy cake from Sanders, Michigan here.
All right, so keeping it a little bit local with Michigan, heavy seafood theme. No haggis and blood pudding for you.
Not this time. I've had haggis. I actually am a fan. If you can get past the smell, it's actually quite good.
Okay. What about you, ShallowCal? You don that green jacket. What are you serving a year later?
I think we're probably, if you know me, I'm an oyster guy, and I think we're starting with oysters, and we're just gonna have all of the oysters that we can possibly manage, and then steak, ribeyes, big thick old ribeyes there, potatoes, mac and cheese. All that good stuff. And then I think T-Mac absolutely nailed it. Bumpy cake for dessert. If you don't know about bumpy cake, it's a Michigan thing. and it is absolutely fantastic.
Okay, I
10
like
out of
it.
10 would recommend.
Yes.
So if I'm putting together a Masters Champion dinner, 4 themes for me. I want there to be something from what I consider to be my 2 homes, Michigan and Mississippi. I want there to be something from Georgia because of obviously the home of Augusta National, and want to pay a little homage to my parents because they're both great cooks. So for me, appetizers, we're going boiled crawfish for the Mississippi feature. Oysters a la Sawyer, which is actually my great grandmother's recipe that my mom has perfected, and cold beer to start things off. First course, we're going with a Michigan cherry salad to give the nod there to the Wolverine state, the Great Lakes state. Family main course, we're going to go with barbecued ribs, my dad's famous Lithuanian rib sauce. Family style sides, ramen cabbage salad, baked beans, and sweet corn. And then we're going to finish it off with Georgia pecan pie a la mode.
Ooh. Okay. I'd sit down at that dinner.
All right, good. So I'm the one that's winning the Masters. That's where we go from there.
No.
All right. Well, let's jump into recapping the Texas Open. Jordan Spieth, we hit on it in the opening. Really, really glad to see him get the win. Golf is better when Jordan Spieth is not only competing, but he's winning, and he did everything right in this tournament. He made every putt he had to on Sunday. It was a show.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cal.
Yeah. I mean, I was, as you know, on the Spieth bandwagon from the beginning of the season on, and just as a fan of golf in general, betting aside, I love to see those comeback stories. You know, we saw it with Tiger at the Masters, and even the year leading up to it, where he won all those tournaments coming back. And you don't often see somebody who's a professional athlete fall so hard out of form and then come back um, and really get back. I don't necessarily want to say the peak of the mountaintop, but he definitely won a tournament, and that's nothing to scoff at as a professional golfer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really excited to see him back at the top again as well. Obviously, I wasn't as big of a fan of his as Callow there, but yeah, like you said, Sports Guy Ty, I mean, golf is a better place with Jordan Spieth atop the leaderboard.
One thing that I think is really cool about the Jordan Spieth story is through all these struggles the last 4 years, he has basically kept his core team intact. He didn't go out and fire the coach, get rid of the manager, go to a different market. Like, he just kind of stayed the course. I think one of the reasons why people love Jordan Spieth and why he's so relatable is because he's so human and he doesn't make, these knee-jerk reactions. He keeps it all very much in perspective. He's got a great personality for the slump that he's had to endure for the last 4 years. And I think keeping that core team intact, keeping them around him, really helped him get out of that. I mean, how much fun is it just listening to the commentary between Jordan and his caddy Michael Grello on the course?
I love that. And like you said, he just seems like such a humble guy. I mean, he's taken some lumps and he just keeps on. And I mean, I think if anything, the backbone of this country is perseverance. So we love to see it.
Definitely. And he's going to be live this week at the Masters. We're going to get into that a little bit more as we get further down.
Are you kidding me? He's going to win this motherfucker.
All right. So Thursday, Charlie Hoffman was almost Sunday Charlie Hoffman at the Valero Texas Open, but came up 2 strokes short. My tip for last week at 35-1. Very happy for both of you gentlemen that you hit that outright. Really would have loved to see Thursday Charlie do it. Amazing. The dude was at one point on Thursday 5 over for the tournament. Yeah. I mean, he went something ridiculous like 21 or 22 under from that point. And it was just insane. I mean, the Valero Texas Open is the Charlie Hoffman Open. He is the all-time career earnings leader at this tournament. And I'll be damned if he didn't turn around and almost complete that comeback.
It was pretty impressive. I was a little, we do have a fantasy golf league as well, and you're kind of looking at who's got what in their lineups. And I thought, oh, mark this guy off for SportsGuyTy on the cut list. He might have a little trouble with the cut monster this week, and it eventually ended up being me who had problems with the cut monster. Another story for another day. But yeah, man, that turnaround and going, like you said, like 21 under par for the rest of the tournament is that's pretty dang impressive.
Well,
Yeah.
what I was just happy to see Hoffman not pull it off because, as you alluded to, and what we'll talk about here in a moment is, I mean, we had it surrounded, and I had everybody bet except for Hoffman. So
Yep. I mean, it was amazing how much the three of us had that leaderboard surrounded on Sunday. There were 11 players who finished the tournament tied for ninth or better, and we tipped 5 of those players. Spieth, Charlie Hoffman, Tmac, you were on Anirban Lahiri, as well as Cameron Tringali. ShallowCal and I were both on Chris Kirk. Man, we were all over it last week, boys.
Lahiri would have paid out 350 to 1. 350 to 1.
But Ryan Palmer, who was right there, and Corey Connors, who, a few balls go a different way for him, and he, goes a different way. I mean, there were some guys there that could have made some noise, and had they broke a little differently, we could have made ourselves some real nice money this week.
No doubt. Well, let's recap our cards very quickly. Then we'll turn our attention to the important stuff, covering the Masters. Right-click, print money winners. Gentlemen, I'll just let you both throw it out there again.
Yeah, so obviously I had Jordan Spieth 11 to 1. That's the only guy I had on the card. 1 unit bet for 12 units returned. I'll take that all day.
How about you, ShallowCal? Anybody beyond Spieth won on your card this week?
Yeah, I had Chris Kirk top 10. I had Jordan Spieth top 10. I had Corey Connors top 20. Ryan Palmer top 20. Unfortunately, those guys were also close to my top 10 and top 5s as well, which I had on them. Ended up returning slightly over 2.5 units for the week to be positive, and up 13.5 on the year so far.
Very nice. For me this week, again, just missed on Charlie Hoffman with the outright winner, but did collect place wins on both Hoffman top 10 as well as Chris Kirk top 10. All right, bogeys of the week now. We'll start with you first, ShallowCal. Your misses this week.
My misses were with Spieth. I'm all over this guy, and I love him so much. And I didn't go top 5, top 10, top 20 hard enough on him and put enough outright money on him to really bump my units up. So that was my biggest mistake of the week.
That's a good bogey of the week. It's a good one.
The guy who I was literally riding the past 7 weeks. So.
Riding harder than Paula Gretzky.
I wish. Boy, oh boy. Let's not get me started there.
All right, T-Mac, your bogeys of the week.
The biggest ones for me is just I really love Sam Burns, but it's always like he is either just going to be so hot or so disappointing, and he was very, very disappointing this week.
Very, very disappointing. Also, one of my 2 bogeys of the week. Bermuda Burns missed the cut. I tipped 7 golfers, wound up taking 5 of them into the weekend. And the second one who missed, not a shock because of how young he is and where he is in his career, but more about the significance of that in weekend sweats. But he and Sam Burns both missing the cut. My bogeys of the week. Only 2 of the 7 golfers I didn't take to the weekend. Let's stick right there. Weekend sweats. What were you watching closely this weekend, T-Mac?
I mean, Lahiri. I mean, you always tell me they're just shot in the dark bets, but I mean, a 350 to 1, and we had a real chance. I think he was going into Sunday at 8 under. I mean, he was, I think, topped the top 5 at a couple points. A couple more, honestly, if he had one more day to play, he might have actually come through and won that. But That's what I like to see. I've had a couple of these, 150s, dancing there. Now I got a 350 dancing there. I promise you, I'm going to hit one of these time, and that's going to pay for the card all year.
T-Max tickets, man. We almost got our first winner on those long shot lottery tickets this week. All right, ShallowCal, what were you sweating out this weekend?
It wasn't this weekend. It was another first round leader ticket, and I got absolutely crushed. I had Spieth sitting there, first round leader in the clubhouse. The course was supposed to be getting harder, and not only did it get harder, but the other players went harder as well. And I had another guy go 5 under par, 6 under par on the back nine to backdoor me on another first round leader ticket. The worst part about it is I had Abe Answer, Ryan Palmer, and Jordan Spieth all at like 4 or 5 under par on their back nines. And well, Abe didn't quite finish there, but I was all over that first round leader, and then that didn't work out so well.
Very, very tough. As we talk about all the time, no better feeling than hitting one of those first round leader tickets and just paying off your card on a Thursday.
Yep, that's what would have happened.
Biggest weekend sweat for me. We've talked about it ad nauseum. Thursday, Charlie couldn't get it done for me. Hell of an effort to battle back from that miserable start. But I was sweating it all the way. I was once again not able to watch a whole lot of the golf. Was having to listen to most of it, which makes it a bit tougher, but still sweating nonetheless. So Tmac leads the way at the Texas Open with a positive 3-unit return. ShallowCal not far behind, returning 2.56 units. Small loss for me this week, down 2.5 units. For the year, I lead the way still, up 41.87 units. ShallowCal also in the black, plus 13.49. Tmac chipping away at it with the Jordan Spieth outright this week, down 17.63 units. Don't even need a lotto ticket to come back from that. One more winner, and you're level par, baby.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, we have hemmed and hawed long enough. Let's get to the main course, gentlemen, the Masters. Before we talk 2021, a quick look back at 2020 Masters, the one in November. Much, much different course in the fall. Not the firm and fast course that we're used to seeing. 40 tournament records fell. 40 at the Masters in November. 14 were tied, including two of the most prestigious records to fall. DJ was the first to break 270. He finished 20 under 268. Cam Smith, the first golfer to have 4 rounds in the 60s and didn't win at Augusta. It was a totally different ball game, but T-Mac, it was, for me, I really enjoyed the Masters in November. Your thoughts quickly?
Yeah, it was really nice just to see the course different than how we usually do it. I mean, it's funny because everything I was reading up this week just says, Augusta, you know what to expect. We didn't know what to expect then, and it was kind of unique.
Yeah. What about you, ShallowCal?
I just liked seeing the course bare bones as is. No fans, no nothing. I mean, Bryson hits a ball that's only a few paces off of the fairway into this thick, nasty rough, and nobody finds it.
Gone.
Gone. Like it just disappeared. I like to see like I said back then, I think that if you rotate the majors into different times of the year, you present different obstacles at different stages of the years at these courses. So I think one of the obstacles that you saw in Augusta in November was you had a whole year to really grow that grass really long and really thick. Did they take necessarily the opportunity to make the course as hard as they possibly could? Maybe not, and I think they would have done some things differently going back, but it was still really cool.
Big overseed with the Rye in September of last year, and I'm not sure that they were able to dry it out as much as they would have liked. We saw a little bit more of the Bermuda grass come through on the traditional bent grass greens in November, which again made it a bit more receptive. Not as many balls rolling off once they hit the green. I think honestly, and I may just be completely walking down a lonely road here, but I think that the Masters in November was almost a punt to make sure that we had a real Masters in April coming back, because I think they could have played around a little bit more with the timing of that overseed, with kind of some of the ways that they grew up or didn't grow up that rough in certain spots. But I think a lot of it was really focused on making sure that we had a traditional, firm, fast Augusta course for April of 2021. Okay, well, this course and this tournament obviously needs no introduction, but let's shift our attention a little bit to 2021 and give it some of that introduction. 85th edition of the Masters, played every year except for 1943 to 1945 during World War II. We've got 88 players in the field this week. Top 50 and ties go to the weekend. No more 10-shot rule. You are no longer making the cut if you're within 10 shots of the rule, if you of the lead. If you are not in that T50 and ties, it's going to give us, as always, our most prestigious field in golf. Architects, Dr. Alistair McKenzie and the great Bobby Jones. And as we have hit on multiple times, this course should play much more traditionally in April, firm and fast. Lee Westwood played it after the Players, said it's as firm and as fast as he's ever seen it. We do have a little bit of rain in the forecast, which we'll talk about here shortly, but I don't think enough to really change it. One interesting thing I saw, wondering if either one of you caught this today, in some of the shots on TV and on Twitter, the greens almost had a purple hue to them, which was kind of contrasting the normally lush green background that is everywhere else in Augusta. But boys, those greens are baking. They are getting crispy. They are dried out. This is going to be something.
I didn't notice the purple hue. I'm going to have to go back and take a look at that. But I mean, everything that I've been reading is just exactly like you're saying. I mean, they're going to be putting on a dancing floor out there.
Be like putting on the hood of a Volvo and trying to get it to stop. Excuse me, putting off the roof of a Volvo trying to get to stop on the hood.
Yeah. And
Impossible.
The only thing I could see this afternoon at Augusta was Bryson swinging out of his shoes on the practice range.
And VJ watching.
Trying to hit media tents 400 yards away in the air, you know.
It's a spectacle.
And VJ standing there saying, "Hey, Bryson, you're not swinging hard enough. Swing hard."
That's why we love VJ.
I absolutely love that guy.
Among many reasons why we love VJ.
Absolutely. No, I didn't see it, but I have been reading up, and I have heard that it's been a focus point of the grounds crew and the pros there is getting this course into as tough of conditions as they possibly can. The shots that I did see of this were, a lot of the rough and a lot of the green space around the green in the primary cut and the second cut has expanded a little bit, and they're really cutting that tight around the green. So you're going to see a lot of balls rolling very, 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 very far off of those greens if you're errant with your shots and you don't have the correct spin on it.
We are going to see, I think, every bit of 14 on the stimp meter. Now, we're never going to know that, obviously, because Augusta National is governed by its own board of governors and doesn't answer to the PGA, USGA, or anyone else. But those greens are going to be firm. They are going to be fast, and those balls are going to giddy up.
That's what I was hearing. I was hearing 13.5, 14 is what they're calling it right now.
Unbelievable. All right, ShallowCal, well, hit us with some course vitals. Give me length, give me par, give me what you got.
Par 72 as always, almost 7,500 yards, just a shade under. You've got every single hole named after a flower or tree, as was tradition. They took this course from what was a nursery or a farm and cut a beautiful, magnificent golf course in it. One of the best parts about this course is there are no gimmicks. There are no weird pot bunkers or island greens or holes that are funky and wacky. This is just a genuinely tough golf course. You got 44 bunkers. I don't even think there's water on any of the holes on the front nine. You're really playing a true test of a golf course where it's going to make you play position. It's going to make you hit shots accurately. It's going to make you putt well. And if you don't do any of that, you're going to be in big trouble.
Yep. Water comes into play on 5 holes, all in the back 9, as you mentioned. Rays Creek runs through Amen Corner, 11 through 13, which comprises the majority of that. But as you alluded to, ShallowCal, just over 40 bunkers. I think 43 was the number you said, on the course. It's a course, too, that plays much longer than the stated 7,400 yards plus. The grass is actually mowed against the drive at Augusta to hold down that roll. But, as you mentioned, ShallowCal, there's not a lot of tricks out there per se. The rough is not overly penal. You can make par from the pine straw. Really being behind a tree is your only danger off the tee. It's all about those greens, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. Bent grass, again, Bermuda was a bit more dominant in November, changed it up from what we're used to seeing. What do you think?
In the fairways, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's one of those, like you said, it's there's no tricks on this course. Like Bryson tried to break it last year, and it broke Bryson. He
sure did.
He did not do well. I believe he missed the cut.
He made the cut, but he needed either a par or a birdie coming home 17, 18 to make
I remember you sweating it out, right? I think you had him on. Yeah, exactly.
Sure did. I needed him to take 4 to the weekend in my fantasy lineup.
But that's the thing with this course, is that it's been remodeled a lot, and it's been restructured a lot, and yet it's not crazy modern and new and weird. It is the course that it is.
Definitely. Anything else to add, Tmac, on the course itself? Fairways, greens, anything?
Yeah, I mean, just a really hilly course as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of different changes. There's going to be some pretty important things to consider when you're looking at who to pick this week.
You both hit on it earlier in the show, but one of the coolest aspects of the November Masters for me was actually seeing it without fans, because you really sometimes forget how rolling Augusta is, and the elevation change, the terrain. It was really, really cool to see that without the fans, and with really how majestic that course is in more ways than even we realize in a traditional year. All right, Tmac, take us through some important stats to consider as you're looking to build your betting card for Augusta.
I've got a couple different ones this week, but I'll start with one that I always have because it's super important, is scrambling. It's always going to be one that I always have to consider. But this one, I think, birdie average is something that's going to be really, really, really important this week. The next one I'm going for is strokes gained tee to green. And then finally, strokes gained around the green. All of this is going to be very, very vital. The guys that can chip and putt onto this surface that we've been talking about, they're going to be the ones that take this home.
Need a little bit of magic around those greens for sure. Definitely need to catch a hot putter. ShallowCal, how about you? Important stats you're considering?
Was that a hot putter that you just talked about there, Mr. Elashewski?
A white hot putter, if you're talking Patrick Reed in 2017, I think it was.
Yes. But I think that's going to be huge here, is the putting. My man Jordan Spieth is 4th overall in putting and 5th overall in 1-putt percent this year, and that's why I love my man's on this course. But one other thing that I'm gonna go for is par 5 scoring. These par 5s are able to be had. They are the scoring holes on this course. You really need to pick your places. You really need to find those opportunities and not push the pace. You're not going to win this tournament on day 1. You're not going to win this tournament on day 2. You're not going to win it on day 3. You need to play all of these par 5s, and you need to
on day 4.
Yes, on day 4, Jordan Spieth built Augusta. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be about the par 5 scoring and taking those opportunities and cashing in on them. If you're going to get out of line on some of these holes early, trying to make birdie or better, you're not going to have a good time.
The key to Augusta is fairly straightforward, and you hit on it right off the top there, ShallowCal, with the par 5 scoring. What you got to do at Augusta is you got to make your hay on the par 5s. You got to score on every single one of them. You got to score on the scoreable par 3s like number 16. And more key than anything, I think you were just alluding to it right here when you said, you can't be going for birdie or better on every hole. You gotta be at least level par through the par 4s. You gotta hold serve on the par 4s, not make the crooked number, not get way out of whack going for it on one of these, shorter holes where it's enticing. But you score on the par 5s, you take advantage of the par 3s that are available there, and you just keep pace with the field in the par 4s, and you're gonna score pretty well at Augusta. I'm going to back up and I'm going to go a little bit of an unconventional route first for the stats that I'm considering. Not a true stat per se, but more the intangibles. For me, first is experience at Augusta. You got to know where to miss your shots around here, whether it be around the green, whether it be on the green, because a lot of those greens, very complex, multiple tiers, etc. So a debutante has not won at the Masters since Fuzzy Zeller, I believe, in the 1970s. So it just doesn't happen. You got to know this course a little bit. Again, you got to know where to miss. Second part of that for me is current form. You have got to come into the Masters playing well, really well. I believe it is every winner this century has had at least one prior top 10 in the calendar year before their win at Augusta. So experience, course form, a couple big intangibles first for me that matter most. Next, I'm going to say this. Distance helps at Augusta. Distance helps bombers, and they definitely have an advantage. Guys like Bryson, guys like Rory, John Rahm, Danny Berger, Brooks Koepka, they are going to be aided. They're going to be helped by that distance, but it's not imperative. For me, Augusta is a second shot golf course. Strokes gained approach rises to the top for me more than any single metric. Got to have strong iron play, wedge play. It's paramount. The reason is, you got to place the ball in the correct tier on these greens. The greens at Augusta are actually about average size for the tour, but the thing that makes them so difficult is all the undulations, the different tiers. They are steeply contoured. Could run up to 14 on the stimp meters we talked about. You got to be able to leave the ball below the hole. So for me, distance matters. Strokes gained approach is more important. Greens in regulation is huge. 6 of the last 7 winners have been inside the top 8, and Tiger and DJ, the last 2 winners, led the field in greens in regulation. Patrick Reed, as I mentioned, is the one notable exception there. He was 21st in greens in regulation when he won, but that putter was just completely white hot.
Man, I'm gonna miss Tiger Woods this week.
Oh man, aren't we all? It was sad seeing. It was sad. It was cool that they left the chair open for him at the Champions Dinner tonight, but it was sad, just seeing his presence not there.
Yeah, he said he was gonna miss running up DJ's tab.
Yeah, which we all would have loved to see as well. One more for me on strokes to consider.
They're expensive.
Yeah. Distance to apex, particularly important this year, back in the traditional spot in April. Yeah, maximum height of a golf ball trajectory on par 4s and par 5s. Guys with very high ball flights tend to do really, really well at Augusta. The recipe, again, is pretty simple, but it starts with being able to land that ball at the right place on the green. So guys that can really bring it in high, land it soft on those greens, stay below the hole, like ShallowCal. Very key. Bryson, Rory, J. Rahm, all high ball strikers. Anything else from either of you two important stats to consider?
Nope.
All right. Callow, you look like you got something to say.
No, I really don't. I am very interested to see this field come back and play this tournament right now with the rumors of how hard and fast this is, because this could go I feel like this could go the route of a US Open, where what did Bryson win in at 4 under par?
Yeah.
I feel like this could just be a complete crapshoot, and these guys are just scrambling to get to even par with the rumors of what's going on. So I can't wait to see it and just start it off.
we're certainly not going to see 20 under par winning the Masters again this year.
Absolutely not.
I think you're dancing right around the correct numbers there. I think probably 6 to 8 under par wins it this week. I don't think we get to double digits at Augusta. Let me throw one more at you before we get into our outright picks. This is one that is very much debated based on who you're talking to, but I'm going to take the stance that you need to be a favorite at Augusta and not necessarily a favorite in the betting. Well, so I'm Danny Willett's one of my proof points here. And Donnie Willett, you don't necessarily need to be a favorite in the odds, but you've got to be a favorite in terms of the official world golf rankings. So since let me think here, only twice in the last decade has a golfer outside of the top 15 won the Masters in the official world golf rankings. One of those was Bubba in 2014, and he was 18th. So right outside the top 15, was having a little bit of a down year after winning the Masters 2 years prior in 2012. But he's one of 2 golfers last decade to win it beyond top 15 of the official world golf rankings. Charles Schwartzel is the other one. He's the big long shot who came out of nowhere, but even he was the 29th ranked golfer in the world in 2011 when he won it. Your boy, Danny Willett, ShallowCal, was he was a 60-1 long shot in 2016, but he was like 11th or 12th in the official world golf rankings.
So I got a question for you though. What would you do with a guy like Jordan Spieth, who's in the 40s right now? I think he might actually be number 40. Like, this guy is obviously not the 40th best golfer in the world, but he has had to make up so much ground, and if his form is concurrent with his form in 2016, 2015, where does that leave him?
Takes a while to climb that leaderboard, man. You fall, and although he could easily make the argument he's playing top 5 golf right now. It's not how those rankings work.
I mean, with the amount of top 5s and top 10s and the consistency that he's been playing with, I'd say he's definitely top 5 right now in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Trends are definitely written in sand and made to be broken. And 100%. As I mentioned, it happens, right? Charles Schwartzel, 29th, not as quite as low as Jordan is right now, but kind of in that realm. A tease, Jordan's not on my card this week, but the official, to your point, ShallowCal, the official world golf ranking is not what's keeping me from Jordan being on my card. He comes in with great experience, great course history. I worry a little bit about the bump, the high of winning last week, and then kind of coming back to Augusta. Maybe this is his happy place, so maybe it doesn't happen. But
no, what if he's only halfway up that mountain?
Might be. And you could make the opposite argument, to be perfectly honest, that the fact that he's been in contention on Sunday so many weeks in a row, he just finally got one, right? And so he's like, I've been here, I got it. Let's go do it again next week.
Let's keep it up. Yep.
Yep. All right, well, let's move then to giving the people what they really want. Outright picks for the Masters. Official betting cards, big one for me this week, very non-traditional. But we'll get into the details and nuance a little bit more. Gentlemen, let's start with the big 6. Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, Jon Rahm, Jordan Spieth, and Rory McIlroy. Tmac, any of the big 6 on your card this week?
2. I got Bryson and Jordan both coming in at 11-1. 1 unit bets on both.
Anything in particular that leads you to Bryson?
I just think his unique style and his distance is really going to play well here. It's going to bring him a little easier approach shots if he is, doing what he does best. So I think that's super important this week. And, I haven't been hot on Bryson all year, and I'm finally realizing I've made that mistake and need to get off him, and it's time to see him put on that green.
Okay. How about you, ShallowCal, shaking your head? Who in the big 6 are you tipping? Not Bryson, I'm assuming.
Not Bryson. I'm actually tipping the one guy that's going to win this tournament, and that's my man's Jordan Spieth.
8 weeks in a row now. 8 weeks
Surprise,
in a row. Tipping
surprise.
Spieth.
I'm putting 2 units on him. He's the only one in that group that I'm going for. However,
Spieth, you need to get on this podcast. Callow's your biggest fan.
Yeah, exactly. I can see a couple of the other guys winning this, especially JT after he put on that freaking clinic at the Players. That those final 2.5 rounds were something to really behold. I mean, that was something special. However, I'm going to fade the other guys just because I think if there's going to be one big guy up there, it's going to be my man's Jordan Spieth.
So I'm gonna say exactly to both of you what I said to Chase Parham of the Ole Miss Rival site. I was on his podcast earlier tonight on Rebel Grove. If you give me the big six, if you give me Spieth, DJ, Bryson, Rahm, Rory, and JT, I'll give you the rest of the field, and I'll give you plus odds. I'll give you minus. I'll take the minus 150 on the top six, and you can have the rest of the field. That's where I'm at this week at the Masters.
Well, I think BetMGM has the rest of the field at negative odds.
Do they really? I'll give you negative odds on the rest of the field. Give me those top six.
Can I say, like, I just want to point out how funny it is that we're pointing out the big six and we're including Jordan Spieth after the last 2 years. Like, that is just absolutely incredible.
It's great.
And mind-blowing to me that he has returned to such great form and is there again. And I'm so happy about it.
Yeah,
really?
It's incredible. We didn't know. So I said that my card is structured a little bit differently this week. Surprises me a bit to hear that Callow, you're only on one of the big six, and Tmac, you're only on two of the big six.
There's a reason for that for me, but
all right. We'll get a bit further down the betting board. Typically, though, you two are more about the favorites. I'm the long shot guy in this crew. Totally flipped on its head for the Masters this week for me. I am starting off my card with 3 of the top 6. Going with JT right off the bat, 12-1, putting 3 points on it. To me, everything clicked for him at the Players. He is past whatever was ailing him early in the year, whether it be personally, professionally, etc. In 5 Masters appearances, he's only gotten better every time. He was 39th on debut, then he's gone 22nd, 17th, 12th, culminated with a 4th in the fall. Iron and wedge play, unbelievable. 3rd in strokes gained approach, 14th around the green, 30th in greens and regulation. Next of the big 6, I'm tipping Bryson. I'm right there with you, T-Mac. 12-1 for me. Got 2.5 points on him. He's the only 2-time winner on tour in 2021. Plays great on tough courses. We touched on it earlier. The Fall Masters really ate him up, but he is a brilliant guy, and he's not somebody that's going to let that linger. I mean, he was right back in the lab figuring out why, and I think he comes out stronger than ever for the Masters tournament. His irons are white hot right now, and that goes along with being number 1 in driving distance and driving accuracy. So obviously number 1 strokes gained off the tee. He's 15th in strokes gained approach. If Bryson's putter is even field average this week, I think he runs away with it, honestly. All right, last one for me of the big 6. I'm going to Jon Rahm. Also got him at 12-1. Biggest concern for me with Rahm, obviously, was whether the baby was going to come this week or not, because he was very clear about the fact that he would leave a tournament mid-tournament if his wife went into labor. So baby got here on Sunday. By all accounts, Kelly and baby are both doing well. He's going to get some good sleep, to be perfectly honest. As a parent, you know this, ShallowCal. No new parents get any sleep those first 2 to 3 weeks. Jon Rahm gets to go to a hotel room, maybe a big house in Augusta all by himself. Doesn't have to get up in the middle of the night. Going to get some great sleep, and he's also coming in on an absolute heater. 7 top 10s in his last 9 tournaments overall, 3 straight top 10s at Augusta, and checks all the boxes for stats. Top 3 off the tee, 14th in strokes gained approach, 6th in greens and regulation, and 5th in distance to apex.
So the reason I don't like him is because, like any parent will tell you, your mind isn't 100% in it. And at Augusta, you need to be 100% focused on this course, on the strategy of this course. And if there's even little thoughts of, little baby John Rahm dancing in his head and whatnot, that could be the difference between, missing putts and making putts, or being on the green, not being on the green.
I agree with you. I do. But again, Kelly's healthy, baby's healthy. You got to believe that they've got an unbelievable team working round the clock to support them.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I think it's the complete opposite. I think he gets the new father bump. I think he's walking around with a little extra bounce in his step, smiles a little bit bigger this week. I think it's like the weight of the world has been lifted, honestly. But we'll see. We'll see.
I'm with you, Callow. I faded around this week because of the baby.
John, if you're listening to this, I've been wearing my Jordan 11 golf cleats for the all white ones for about 6 months now. So if you could send me a new pair, that would be fantastic. The bottoms are starting to get a little bit green.
Yeah, he'll hop right on that.
All right, so going through the Big Six pretty much takes us through the low numbers and through the teens. Tmac, anybody you're on in the 20s?
Patrick Cantlay. I actually think he's he's one of my favorite guys this week. What I'll say about Cantlay is he's 3rd in scrambling, he's 4th in birdie average, and for shots gained tee to green, he's 8th. So I think, what's this, his 5th time here at Augusta, so he's got some experience. He's got a couple top 10s, top 20s. I think he's primed for a win here.
He is a shot maker at a shot maker's course. I like Patrick Cantlay a lot too. He was the very first cut to not make my card, but I am right there with you. He's a wizard around the green. The course history is there. He got the big win at Zozo. I like it. Anybody else in the 20s for you?
Nope.
ShallowCal, 20s for you.
I like Cantlay as well. I don't have him on my card as an outright in the 20s. I do have him elsewhere as a first round leader. But I am hedging that with fantasy, and he is definitely in my fantasy lineup. So he is a guy that I like. I like that bet, T-Mac. I think that could definitely be a winner. 20s for me, I've got Xander at 25-1. He's a guy who I believe has missed his last 2 cuts, but he's somebody who before that, his last 15 majors, I believe he's made 14 of those cuts. He's a guy who is very consistent. He, like you said, he's a shot maker on a shot maker's course. The dude can drive the ball a country mile, and he can still hit those iron shots and approach shots into these greens. I think he's definitely live, and at 25-1, I really like those odds.
Okay. Nobody for me in the 20s. So right back to you, ShallowCal, 30s.
I'm surprised you didn't go with Webb in the 20s there, SportsGuyTy.
I didn't get Webb in the 20s.
Oh, did you get him in the 30s?
I didn't get Webb in the 30s.
Oh my gosh. I cannot
Where'd you
wait.
get him?
I got Webb at 40-1, and he's on my card, all right?
I was going to wait, but since you spoiled it, dang, that's fantastic right there.
So do you have anybody in the 30s?
Absolutely.
So I've got Patrick Reed at 32-1. I am not a Patrick Reed fan, but
I love him.
There's just something about this course that his game fits, and I can easily separate money with liking a golfer or not, and I think he's a live bet at this course. And at 32-1, I had to take him. And my other one in the 30s, my man, 4 rounds in the 60s last year. Cam Smith, the Aussie, at 39-1. So let's roll Cam Smith. Do it for the long hairs. One time, baby.
I love everything about it. First of all, I'm absolutely with T-Mac. Big Patrick Reed fan as well. I struggled mightily with both those guys, with both Patrick Reed and both Cam Smith. They danced on and off my betting card for a good 24 hours there, and I wound up leaving both of them off. I'm not convinced that Patrick Reed's form is where it needs to be to really compete at Augusta this week. I do like those numbers. Now, as he starts to get into the 30s as a past champion, that kind of brings me back to it. Same reason I'm off Cam Smith. The best number I saw on him was 40. If we're talking 50, 55, then yes, that's an auto bet for me. But again, I didn't achieve much value at the top end of my card, going with 3 of the big 6. So I had to look for value elsewhere, and it wasn't Cam for me at the numbers that I saw.
Well, I
All right,
did take Cam Smith at 40-1, and in my 30s, I also took Victor Hovland, baby, 33-1. I don't know. It could be one of these bounce back tournaments for him. I mean, he's got the ability, so I just thought it was an interesting one. The way I kind of structured my card this week, I'll talk about it a little later, but there was something else that I was able to dance around some of the big names, which allowed me to kind of take some more shots at guys that weren't those big names, and much better odds for what I'm betting later on.
I love that Vic Hovland. We haven't seen him in a couple of weeks. Like you said, like he had that bounce where he missed that cut. He had a couple bad rounds here and there, but that dude can shoot some low scores, and I feel like this is a course that he would do well at.
One golfer for me in the 30s, Brooks Koepka.
Ooh, old injured Brooks, huh?
So there's an old saying in golf, beware the injured golfer. Beware Brooks Koepka this week, especially with a chip on his shoulder. I honestly can't believe this, but I'm looking at it right now. There is still a 30-1 number out there on Koepka on PointsBet right now. This to me feels a lot like JT at the Players. When we saw that 20 number on JT, I mean, you almost like backed off for a minute, like that can't be right? Like a major champion at a course like this where that number's wrong. We should have all been on it. I'm honestly not sure how we all missed that week, but Brooks feels the same way. And I realize that I'm stomaching a lot of risk here. He could well hit a tee shot on Thursday, pick up that tee and walk the other way off the course and be done. And I lose all my bets on him. But again, it's a value play for me at 30-1. If Brooks even contends at the Masters this week, we're never seeing a 30 number on him again, particularly at a major. So I like it. By all accounts, he's motivated, looks great out there on the course in the practice rounds. Another golfer who's just built for Augusta, long off the tee, peppers the greens, very high ball flight.
I'm gonna give you one little positive note on that, is that the best time that you're ever in shape is when you're rehabbing and you're working out constantly and you're trying to be better all around your knee or your shoulder or this or that for that injury. And this might actually really, really, really help him going into this, being in such especially for a guy like Brooks Koepka who relies on his fitness to be a great golfer. So he might really benefit from that, and I do expect to see him compete. I didn't have him on my card, but he might be another one of those guys. Depending on who's listening out there, he might be another one of those guys who's on my fantasy lineup.
All right. Anybody else in the 30s for either of you?
Nope.
All right, we already danced into the 40s a little bit, so T-Mac, pick us up where we left off there. Anybody else for you in the 40s?
Nope, just Cam Smith, right as you said at the top. I got him at 40-1 early.
ShallowCal, 40s for you?
I got nothing in the 40s or the 50s.
One for me in the 40s, as mentioned, Webb Simpson, 40-1. I was curious, but again, PointsBet is throwing out some tremendous lines this week. Webb Simpson is still 40-1 on PointsBet. Right? I mean, this is a major champion. He won in 2012 out in San Francisco, won the U.S. Open at the Olympic Club. His play is steadily improved at the Masters. His last 3 starts, he has a top 20 and a couple of top 10s, including in November. He was T10, who normally you wouldn't say his game's built for Augusta because he's not terribly long off the tee. He is one of those guys who's added a little bit of distance, so he's climbing a little bit there. But let me throw this one at you. Zach Johnson won the 2007 Masters as one of the shortest hitters on tour. Now, granted,
in sight though.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. I mean, he laid up to every single par 5 all week, and he was just totally dialed in with the wedges, and he had the putter going. So that's the formula for Webb, right? Like, don't lose strokes off the tee. Find your irons enough. Continue all that wizardry we know around the greens, and then catch that white hot putter. And if he does that, I mean, 40-1 is a long number for a guy who's got good form, got course history, and is a previous major champion.
Yes, sir.
All right, nobody in the 50s for you or for me, ShallowCal, Tmac, anybody for you?
Joaquin Niemann, baby, 50-1.
Ball striker, baby.
Yeah, again, just kind of taking some stabs at some guys that I like this week, so we'll see.
All right, take us in. Let's lump it together. Let's go 60s to 90s. Keep us going, T-Mac, and we'll go to you, ShallowCal.
I've got 3 in that range. So starting out with Big Willie Z, 66-1. I got Corey Connors at 66-1. I think that's a good number on him.
I like that.
He has the option or possibility. And then I think a good sleeper pick this week, I'm really big on him, is Max Homa. I got him at 80-1. I'm feeling pretty good about Max. Scoring average, 29th. Tee to green, 57th. He's just a solid guy around the green there, and I think he has a chance.
Okay, I like that a lot. How about you, ShallowCal? Anybody in that range?
Yeah, I got a couple, but I'm a big Max Homa fan. Even if I went airball on this one and Max Homa won the Masters, I think I would be pretty happy with that. But yeah, at 60-1, I've got 2 guys. I've got Joaquin Niemann and Jason Day. Jason Day, like you guys already touched on Joaquin Niemann. Jason Day, Aussie, has played the conditions that I think that Augusta's going to be rolling in here. He has a great pedigree for the course. He knows the course extremely well. He's been there before. He could possibly do it again. And 60-1, I thought that was a fantastic value on him.
Yep, I think that's great value as well. T-Mac, quickly, I'm going to give you a number that's going to blow your mind.
All right.
I'm with you. 66-1 on Corey Connors is a great number. Ball striker, again, I think a lot of it sets up well. If he can just not lose strokes with the putter, if he can just be field average, he's going to be a great play. Points bet right now, I'm looking on odds checkers that summarizes all the sites. Points bet has a 100-1 number on Corey Connors right now. That's insane.
That's BetMGM, man. What are you doing out there? Again, for those of you that don't know, I can't seem to bet on any other site except to BetMGM. It's the only one that verified where I live. Everyone else thinks I live in Pennsylvania, so I can't bet.
Let me go back real quick to your Will Zalatoris pick. If you take away the 3 amateurs in the field, he's one of only 3 debutantes. It's Zalatoris, it's Bob McIntyre from Scotland, and it's Carlos Ortiz. Knowing that a debutant has not won here since Fuzzy Zeller a generation ago, why Zalatoris this year?
I like, those stats, they don't mean anything. Yeah. Anybody can come in at any given time and win it. So Big Willie Z's been showing steady improvement. He's really been dancing around the top 20s, top 10s in the last few tournaments and outings. I like him, and it's funny because I actually have Ortiz as well this week on my card.
You are wrong for both of those.
The one debutante that I had was the other guy. So
was Bob McIntyre?
Yeah, I love Bobby McIntyre, man. I like his game.
So I actually, and we'll get into this.
I don't have him actually on my card, but of the 3, I like his chances.
Put your money where your mouth is, or don't.
All right, we'll come back to that. Let's finish out our outrights because I've got some thoughts on McIntyre, top debutant, all that good stuff. All right, so my card's finished. I'm with my 5 up to the 40s. We're through the 90s now. To you first, ShallowCal, anything 100-1 or longer on your card?
Yeah, I got a couple of T-Max tickets in here.
You do.
he kind of stirred the pot and got those lottery tickets brewing in me. And when I opened up the books and I saw the Aussie, Mark Leishman,
Mac.
at 160 to 1,
Still 160 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I immediately threw a half unit on that, just because the guy can play. Like, this guy could go out there and win this tournament, and I would not be surprised. And to see a 160 number on him, that's crazy. And then that leads me right into the next guy that I got a 190 to 1 number on, Kevin Kisner. This guy just went out there and balled out in the WGC match play and was hitting shots and outplaying guys that were supposed to be better than him, right? And seeing him at 190 to 1, I had to jump all over that.
So a few things on Kisner, because I was looking at him this week just for various reasons, not necessarily to bet, but was looking into some Kisner stuff. He didn't ball out at match play. He didn't make it out of his pod. Now, he was in the toughest pod with Kuchar and JT and everything and Louis Oosthuizen. He was actually eliminated in pool play. Kisner, and after Wednesday, I mean, we were talking about Kisner for the Ryder Cup, right? Like, he's a match play wizard, no doubt about it. But that surprised me a little bit when I went back and looked and had to remember that he actually didn't make it out of pool play. He's a short hitter. I just don't think he contends at Augusta. It's one of those courses he said earlier in the year, there's some places he ain't winning. He plays it a lot. He played it a lot in November, but no Kisner for me this week.
Way to buzzkill my my WGC. I mean, he played really well though.
He did. I mean, literally on Wednesday, like there was calls on golf Twitter to just put him on the Ryder Cup team now. Like, ain't nobody beating him in match play. But no, that was surprising to me as well. I mean, and again, Kuchar just caught fire, and also another great match play guy. He just unfortunately happened to be paired in that pod with him. But yeah, early exit for Kisner at WGC.
I thought Kisner went 2-1 in that one.
Still didn't advance out of pool play though, Kuchar.
Oh my god.
Okay, before we turn it over the spotlight completely to Tmac for Tmac's tickets, anything else on your outright card, ShallowCal?
That's all my outright.
All right. Well, Tmac, take us home on the outrights. Where are those lotto tickets this week?
I got 3 of them. So I got Ortiz at 125 to 1. Bet a unit on him. Zach Johnson, funny that you mentioned him. I got him 150 to 1. And I just think I like the number on this one better than anything else. Woosnam, baby, 750 to 1. I'm hitting this one. I can just feel it in my bones.
All right, I'm going to tell you the same thing about that pick that I've told you a few times previously. Take that money and just go buy a lotto ticket.
I bet you would have said the same thing about Lahiri last week, too.
No, Lahiri's one of my guys. I've tipped him before.
Just make sure that Woosnam doesn't have 15 clubs in his bag going into Sunday like he did the last time he had going into a major. Huh?
I called them right before. We counted them out. We're good.
Just make sure that Woosnam is still upright and walking when we get to Thursday.
We'll see.
Right, so
I'll get some crow ready for you.
I will gladly eat that crow. I'll put some hot sauce on it. Okay, so that does it for our outright picks. Again, we won't belabor the full rundown of the outright picks on the cards because you can find those on Twitter. Follow us at RightClickPicks, where we have a link to the spreadsheet where we're going to log all those tips and picks. They'll be up there tonight with the podcast. But gentlemen, before we wrap up, let's spend a little time just talking beyond outright picks on our card because this is Masters Week, right? There's a lot of fun props out there, hole-in-one things, top lefties, everything. Let me start first with the top debutante prop because you, Tmac, have 2 of the 3 debutantes, excluding amateurs, on your card, Ortiz and Zalatoris. If I'm making a bet, I'm taking the other one. I'm taking Bob McIntyre to be the top debutante.
I guess we'll see. Because I got the other 2, baby. So
here's why I like Bob. Lefty, right? And so if you buy into that whole thought process that that left to right, right to left, that Augusta sets up well for the lefties. Then Bob McIntyre plays to that. He showed a lot of stones in the match play, beating DJ, coming out of pool play, lost to a hot Victor Perez. Listen, do I think Bob McIntyre is going to win the Masters? No. Do I think he could be competitive and maybe threaten that top 10? Yes. So I actually really like a top debutante play on Bob McIntyre at, I'm not even sure what that number was. I looked at it earlier. Don't have it handy here. But okay, give me T-Mac some beyond outright picks and tips that you're excited about on your card for the Masters.
Yeah, so something I haven't seen on BetMGM before was dual forecast bets. So this is kind of like one of my favorite things when I'm at a horse track. I love betting the trifecta. You box the trifecta, and it means any order. So the dual forecast, you pick two golfers, and it doesn't matter who takes first, who takes second. So you get some good odds on them. So that's where I started dancing a lot more towards those guys. So I've got, like a dual forecast, for instance, on Dustin Johnson and Bryson DeChambeau. That's a 50 to 1 hit.
Okay.
I won't name all these, but another one down here. I've got a dual forecast on Jordan Spieth and Patrick Cantlay. That's 100 to 1. And then another one that I just like, Bryson DeChambeau and Cam Smith, 200 to 1. It'd be fun to hit one of those.
Be a hell of a hit, that's for sure.
So kind of what I did was had a few of those top guys in there, and then I have just some of my Trevor's tickets up at the outright. So I'm feeling good this week. I'm going to hit something.
Okay.
Or I'm going to lose 27 units.
Big card for me this week as well. I'm up at 21 units total again because I stacked with some each ways on 3 of those big 6. Had to do that to get a little value there. At this point, nothing for me beyond outrights, mostly because I'm at 21 units. I may play around with a first round leader or two. I may look at again that top debutante, top lefty, Brian Harman. Very interesting.
I was going to say that.
I think he's like 225 or 250 to 1. Sorry.
I'm at,
yeah, plus 225 or plus 250. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, ShallowCal, before you take us through one or two of your favorites beyond the outrights, I'm going to just let you know that your boy Kisner is 300 to 1 on PointsBet right now.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Well, looks like old ShallowCal is going to be creating a new account tonight.
Dude, I'm telling you, like I'm looking at oddschecker.com right now. Again,
is PointsBet just the best place to be?
So I opened a page with PointsBet this week, and they got some great promos running for Masters, and they have some unbelievable lines out here. Of the 88 golfers in Augusta, they have the best number on probably 50 of those guys. It's pretty amazing.
Incredible.
Yep. All right, so tell me where else you're going, ShallowCal.
So I've been so close with this first round leader, right? Like I've just been right there, and I feel like it's almost placing bets in roulette. So I've got quite a few out there, but I'm going to give you some that are 70 to 1 or better. So 71, I've got your lefty Brian Harman for first round leader. Dude can ball.
He's on a heater right now.
Yeah. After that, I've got Max Homa 80 to 1, Sebastian Munoz 80 to 1, Carlos Ortiz 90 to 1, Kevin Kisner 80 to 1, and the one guy who I think actually might win this one, Mackenzie Hughes 100 to 1. That's my big first round leader tip of the week. Mackenzie, kid can ball.
He can putt. That's for sure.
Yeah. So give me a putter on this course. If the rest of his ball striking goes down real nice, first round leader ticket, who knows?
How many total units on your card this week?
Total units on my card this week are 14. So
Okay.
not too big, but got a good number of units out there.
Still time to get big too.
That's true.
14 units for Callow on the card, 21 for me, 27 for T-Mac. So T-Mac and I definitely on the bigger end this week, but again, lots to be done here. Possibly some live bullets to fire in tournament. All right, gentlemen. That brings us to the end. Any closing thoughts from you, ShallowCal, on Masters Week?
It's great to be back. It's great to have this in April. I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to see it. I hope these golfers are as excited as I am and bring everything they got.
Tmac, final thoughts?
I mean, it's my second favorite major, so yeah, I really, really love Masters time of the week. I got a pretty busy weekend of real estate, but I'm hoping to just be able to catch some Masters, eat some pimento grilled cheese sandwiches and some egg salad sandwiches, and have a good weekend.
What is your first favorite major, if not the Masters?
Oh, U.S. Open, baby.
Ah, interesting.
It's my
Interesting.
favorite by far.
Okay, I dig it. Same here. And I don't think anything that hadn't been said already. I'm just pumped that it's Masters Week again. Excited to see the course back in the spring with the azaleas blooming, fast and furious, those purple-hued greens as they're getting crispy. It's going to be a fun, fun week, gentlemen. One more time, you can see all of our picks and tips for the Masters by following at RightClickPicks on Twitter. We've got our comprehensive spreadsheet pinned to the top. Give us a follow. Give us some feedback. Tweet us. Let us know who you fancy in the Masters. Let us know if we're absolutely crazy with these picks. Tell us if you're taking any of T-Mac's tickets. I mean, we want to know these things. We'll get on there and have some fun and engage. You can also find all three of us on Twitter. I'm at SportsGuyTy. We also have at ShallowCal Golf. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
And at Trevor.McElwain, correct?
That is correct.
All right, so come follow us on Twitter, interact. Gentlemen, as always, the goal is making paper. Let's get out there and right-click print money for the masses. Cheers to Masters Week.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.